How do you keep on being an ethical person when you're manifesting? I know some of you, this is a question that's seated deep within you. Part of it also is related to you feel the question, the concern, well, is it okay to ask for that much? Listen, every single one of us has been raised in a situation where you felt like you were asking for more than you were allowed to ask. And there are some resources that it's legit true, they're finite. There's a finite amount of Brussels sprouts. Doesn't mean that we can't grow more next year, or maybe you don't even know how to grow them. Can't go buy more next year. But at any certain point, there might only be a handful of Brussels sprouts. However, the things that you truly want and desire, there are not a finite amount of. Now, logistically, you might look at the literal facts and think, oh, there's not enough rich homes, there's not enough money, there's not enough people to be partnered with, there's not enough clients to be in your business. That's a false thought. So whenever you start feeling the lack, and again, the lack can actually look like it's there logistically, and there are some things that are finite, but I want you to pull back and go back to the realm of thoughts and feelings, because there's no lack of thoughts. There's no lack of possibilities. There's infinite possibilities. You could have infinite thoughts. You've got, on average, somewhere between 50 to 75 thoughts a day. Those thoughts are the program of your mind running. The things that you're seeing are related to that. And the more that you stretch yourself, your reticular activating system, which filters in what you notice, what you see with your thoughts, you start to notice and respond to different things. However, within your brain, most of us were using this more primitive and fast-moving, fast-deciding brain most of the time. The fast part of your brain, I think, is like 100 times faster than the logical prefrontal cortex slower part. So what does that have to do with manifesting? At a core level, your beliefs are impacting the things that you're going for, the actions that you're taking. When you journal or meditate and pose a question to your psyche, to your higher self, to your soul, what's the next small step that you can take to take aligned, inspired action towards your goal? Your intuition, your soul, your psyche is going to help tap you into something that may not seem like it makes logical sense. Usually when I get information, it's something like, reach out to so-and-so that you haven't talked to for 2 years. I kid you not, 9 times out of 10, when I reach out to this person, I don't always see the results right away. I don't always see the things happening. But what I do know is the more that I act in trust, the more that I act in faith, the more I'm likely to do something that I feel called to within, because I'm building up that trust muscle. So you taking one small inspired action a day is building up your trust muscle. As you're doing that, here's what's happening. So if there are infinite possibilities and you're connected to a sense of worthiness, a sense of that you deserve love, happiness, great relationships, abundance, a safe, beautiful home, whatever else you desire, making an impact, having a sexy body, whatever, as you are taking your inspired action and trusting yourself, you're more and more putting yourself in the environment of the internal direction, the internal intuition is giving you the fastest shortcut to where you need to go. If the first few things aren't like you get a hunch to call somebody and you call them and you're like, hey, Nikki, I haven't talked to you in a while. Hey, Brad, how's it going? Hey, Shaniqua, how are you? All of this, you do that and you're like, 2 weeks later, you're like, yeah, that was kind of nothing. Like nothing really happened. That's okay. You're building up this self-trust muscle. You're building up this sense within you of, you get the intuition, you get the inspired action, you take the small action, and nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. So you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And you keep on trusting yourself and taking action, and trusting yourself and taking action. When I plant seeds in the garden, Brussels sprouts, they take, if I remember correctly, somewhere between 90 to 100 days from seed to production. There are many other things that take that long. Carrots can be a little bit shorter, especially if you're growing baby carrots. Carrots can be, I'm thinking like 60 days minimum, but more like 75. So if I put my carrot seeds in the ground, if I put my Brussels sprout seeds in the ground, I'm not going to see the fruits of my labor, the harvest, for a while. There are so many people who talk about manifesting and act like it's going to happen the next day. And I think that's why it's very easy to be like, this is all just crap. Like, nobody believes that, or the chance of that happening, or whatever. I think in the course of your life, in the course of 2 or 3 years, you might have one of those miracles that happens right away. Great. And if you're expecting it, or you have the openness to the miracles, great. But also having the understanding that some of these things take time. There's nothing wrong with a Brussels sprout taking the time it takes to produce. It's natural, is the way that it's designed. You taking different actions, taking inspired actions, if it takes time, be okay with that. Realize and trust in yourself, and trust that you're part of a natural process that has its own timing, divine timing, earth timing, and you're simply syncing up so that you can work with it in the best time possible. If I have a packet of Brussels sprout seeds and they sit in my basket of seeds for 2 years, that's like not taking inspired action for 2 years and having the seed. We've all been there. There are things right now. I've had the seed for about 2 years, and I'm like, those Brussels sprouts are not producing. They are not in the ground. If it's a super dry year and the soil doesn't have a lot of nutrients, that Brussels sprout that normally takes 90 days, it might take 120 days to produce. Am I going to be obsessing about it, or am I going to tune into the fact that some years things take longer? Some things take longer. There are other factors at play. Manifesting is a co-creation. It's a relationship with yourself and a relationship with the world around you. And the more that you enjoy it, the more that you take small inspired actions in the course of a day, the more you build up the self-trust, and you constantly remind yourself, reaffirm for yourself that this is all working out, this is happening as it should. And for some of us, if you've had so many years of not trusting yourself, you need that time to build it up. You need that time for the programming in your mind to reset. The other day, my computer shut off unexpectedly when I was recording a podcast, so super inconvenient. I was a guest, and I had to wait about 4 minutes for it to update and reload and restart. There was nothing I could do. So I started meditating and just sending good vibes to the person. I emailed her from my phone and said, I'll be there as soon as my computer's done loading. You know, my computer's like, we're at 40%, we're at 60%. I just had to let it be what it was. It took as much time as it took. Your brain, when it's updating, it's going to take some time. That's okay. Listen, how many of us have heard stories of millionaires who won the lottery losing their money, or people going bankrupt who had a lot of things? If you want to have it and keep it, you need to have the time for your brain and your energy system to be able to handle it. And that takes time. Capacity building takes time.